전하의 것이다. 중궁전 나인이라 해도 다를 것이 없다. 중전께서도 곧 알게 되실 거다.
반드시 부를 거 주상 전하를 보실 수 없어요. 반드시 전하의 왼편으로 누우셔야 합니다. 소리를 내어서도 아니 되었고 전하의 몸에 손을 대어서도 아니 되옵니다. 전하의 몸 위로 올라가는 일이 있어서는 절대 아니 되옵니다.
정상공,
예, 마마.
합궁을 거부하겠네.
중전마마.
충전마마,
주상 전하와의 합궁은 중전마마의 의무이옵니다.
충전마마, 여기서 그냥 가시면 여러 사람.
Hey, Shalom, this is the brother Abad. You're back here once again. Before I get started, like always, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to my teachers, the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. Now, the clip that I put in the beginning of this video, it's tied to a show that I'm currently watching, and it's about a king whose wife, which is the queen, her family is very, very powerful. And they helped him become the king. But he soon starts to realize that if he doesn't get control of his wife, which is the queen, then her and her family will actually be the ones ruling the kingdom. And he won't really have power as the king because his family is at odds. So his father, who was the previous king, doesn't have his back. So he's basically alone in this, all right? And her family holds a lot of power, all right? And like I stated, she's the reason why he's in power, in the king seat anyways. So he comes up with a plan to have more concubines, right? Or start to have concubines so that they can bear him heirs, all right? The job of a concubine, the only thing that makes her useful is the bearing a son, an heir to the king. So in order to keep the queen in check, her family in check, he starts bringing in concubines, because if he doesn't bring in concubines, then the queen's son automatically, without any type of competition, her son becomes the king. He inherits the throne. Now, even if a concubine has a son, it doesn't necessarily mean that her son has a chance to be the king, because the queen's son is still known as the crown prince, which he's put in front of any other son that comes after him. All right, the first son of the queen is the crown prince. Every other son that comes after him is second in line. So the crown prince will either have to die for the next prince to inherit the throne seat, unless something happens where the queen is disposed of and the king is able to take the rank of the queen. Then the concubine's son will have a chance to be the king. So basically, he just comes up with a plan to bring concubines in to keep the queen in check, her family in check. All right. And the queen, as a woman, she doesn't like that. Now, the reason why I'm going into this is because it backs up what the scriptures have taught us. It doesn't matter if you're an average man, whether you're rich, poor, whether you have power, no power. All right. Whether you're famous, whether you're not famous, it doesn't matter. Women are going to be women at the end of the day. And they are envious of each other. They're jealous of each other. They're in constant competition with each other. And unless they're abiding in the true spirit of Hamashiach Yahushua, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, and in their natural role that the Lord created them to be in, and they love to be in that role, unless they in that type of spirit, you're going to have a rebellious woman. And this clip, the clip that I put, you clearly see the queen rebelling against the king. She was supposed to have a consummation evening with the king to consummate their royal marriage, and she decides not to do it because he brought a concubine. All right, he slept with a concubine. He brought in a concubine. right? Rebelling against the king. Well, what is it? Hey, that sounds like over here in Esther. Let's get Esther the first. Esther. Let's get the book of Esther. All right. Um, with Xerxes, right? It says this is verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 170, over 100, over 107 and 20 provinces. That in those days when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. And when these days were expired, excuse me, bear with me one moment. All right. Salakia, verse 5. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings, fastened with cords of fine linen and purple to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver, upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble. So you're getting the idea of how lavish this feast was. The king was holding, right? It says, and they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse from one another, and royal wine in abundance, according to the state of the king. So they all had gold vessels, but every vessel was different. It was made of gold, but you can picture that they had different colors intertwined within the making of the vessels. And the king had the royal wine poured into their vessels. So this was a decked out feast, right? A high level feast. Verse 8, it says, and the drinking was according to the law, none did compel, for so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house, that they should do so according to every man's pleasures. Also Vashti the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. Right? So she had her own little feast going on for the women. All right? Verse 10, on the 7th day when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Agbitha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the royal crown, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. So he wanted to show off the beauty of his wife, his queen, his woman, which that's not our heritage. That's not the customs that we uphold. We don't believe in showing the beauty of our women to other men. But this king desired to do that, right? He wanted to show his woman off. And at the end of the day, he's the king. You're the queen. You got to do what your man says. It's just like if a woman is in somewhat of an abusive relationship with her husband, she can't then say, "Oh, I'm gonna go and sleep with another man and leave you." No, if you're with a harsh man, that's unfortunate, but you have to be with that man. That's your husband. But in this society, of course, it doesn't work that way. Women have liberty and, they have many rights to do what they want to do and according to their feelings and things like that. But in a lawful kingdom, once you're with a man and you're bound to him by marriage and sex, you can't just leave for any old reason just because your emotions feel a certain way. So she's the queen to the king. She's his wife, so she needs to obey this order. Verse 11, it says, verse 12, it says, but the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. So here it is. He's a king, and he still has this woman rebelling against him, refusing to come. For whatever reason, she could have been her feelings about, it doesn't really go into the intricate details of why she refused, but She probably was in her emotions about something that happened, or she probably was busy doing something, whatever. She didn't want to come. But it shows you that, even kings have to deal with rebellious women. All right? Verse 13, it says, Then the king said to the wise men which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. And he was embarrassed in front of the princes of the land. That's another thing. All right? He just got embarrassed by his wife. This is the king's woman, and he don't have his woman in check. So you can only imagine the type of rumors and gossip that's gonna happen if he doesn't do something to um, fix this situation, because the king has just been embarrassed by his own woman. If everybody sees that, then why would the women of other men listen to their men? All right, why would lower level uh, men have their women listen to them if the queen doesn't even listen to the king? So he has to make an example out of her. Verse 14, it says, And next unto him was Karshina, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsina, and Mumakan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law, because she have not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains? And Mumakan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes, and to all the people that are all in the provinces of King Ahasuerus. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported that King Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say unto them this day, unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. So the princes are like, yo, all the women are going to hear about this, and then they're going to rebel against their men, because they're like, the queen don't got to listen to the king. Why the fuck we got to listen to our men? And that's what you see over here in America, and where this westernized mindset and philosophy has polluted the minds and corrupted the minds of the other people on the face of this earth. The women to think that they are equal to men, or that they can be in competition with men, or they don't have to listen to men. They've been corrupted and polluted. But in a lawful society, that shit would be corrected on the dot. As soon as a woman rebels against her husband, that shit would be corrected, and she would be made an example of, so that can be a lesson learned to other women, that you can't just rebel against your husband without consequences, or your father. Verse 19, it says, If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives should give to their husbands honor, both great and small. So the princes understood, if you get rid of the queen and make an example of her, give her spot to a whole nother woman, then all the wives of other husbands, whether they be great or small, is going to fear their husbands, because now they know their rightful place. The queen was made an example of, and we're nowhere near the queen's level, so what are they going to do to us if we rebel against our husbands? That's the righteous way to go about things. And that's where, when you keep reading, the book of Esther goes into why Esther came into play. Verse 21, it says, And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Mumakan. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people. And that's how it should be. Every man should bear rule in his own house. Shouldn't have other men coming in telling him how he should treat his woman. Shouldn't have the kids telling him how he should treat his woman. Shouldn't have the woman telling him how he should treat her. Shouldn't have her friends telling him how he should treat her. He's the king. He's the ruler. He's the Lord over his house. To further prove that, let's go to the book of Titus. Titus, the 2nd chapter. It says, this is Titus, the 2nd chapter. Is it Titus, the 2nd chapter that I want? Well, I can get Titus, the 2nd chapter. This is Titus, the 2nd chapter. verse 3, it says, the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of the Most High be not blasphemed. Yeah. Obedient to their own husbands, man. And that's a righteous way of living. But in America, it's not taught that, right? Let me get let me see if they got it. Bear me one moment while I look for this. Da, 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 da. Okay. Let me see. Yeah. 1 Peter, the 3rd chapter. And let's start at verse 1. It says, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection, which means under the control of. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear. And that's what we just read in the book of Esther. You know, the wives will see honorable wives living under subjection of their husbands, and they will see that and be chaste, you know, and be coupled with fear, knowing if they don't obey their husbands, then they shall be judged, right, and corrected with their rod. Verse 3, whose adorning let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair and of wearing of gold or of putting on apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is the sight of the Most High of great price. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So any woman that trusted in the Lord, all you women that be having Bibles and going to these churches, oh, I love God, God loves me, God working wonders in my life. Well, this is what the scriptures say. The holy women also who trusted in the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands. Being in subjection unto their own husbands. Verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. Obeyed. You women of this time hate that word, but that's subjection. Obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. Lord means master. Lord means ruler. All right. The scriptures say the Lord, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, is Lord of lords, King of kings. You have other lords, you have other kings, but he's the Lord of lords. He's the King of kings, and your husband is Lord over you. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well, and are not afraid with amazement. So ain't none of you women with Saraiah, all right? Her name means princess. None of you women are princes. None of you women are the daughters of Sarah, unless you live in the footsteps that Sarah lived in. If you're not being under subjection under your husband, you're not a daughter of Sarah. You're a daughter of Satan. So, yeah, I just wanted to do a lesson touching on that because the show I'm watching, it inspired me to touch on this topic. That brothers, don't marvel at the fact that women rebel against you, because even kings have to deal with this. And it's nothing new, right? So Lord willing, this was edifying. Until the next time I say shalom.